So today we are talking about the hive mind solution and how a wild new type of AI is solving one of the biggest problems out there, swarm intelligence. This is a story about a huge breakthrough, but it's not about building a bigger, faster computer. Nope. It's about looking at the beautiful, elegant chaos of nature and finally learning its secrets.
Okay, let's just start with a really big, kind of crazy question. How do you control a thousand autonomous drones all at the same time, without them just, crashing into each other in a giant fireball? Seriously, think about it. You've got all these robots, drones, software agents, whatever. How do you get them all on the same page, all working together? And look, this isn't just some sci-fi thought experiment. This is one of the biggest, toughest problems in robotics and AI today.
So our first instinct, the human way, is what you see on the left, the old way. You have one central brain, right? A single boss calling all the shots. And it makes sense, but it's also a terrible bottleneck. Everything slows down. And worse, if that one central brain goes down, the whole system just, poof, collapses. But then you look at nature's solution, the hive mind, and it's totally different. There is no boss. Every single member just follows a few simple rules based on who's next to them. This lets the whole group react in an instant, and get this, it can heal. If some members get lost, the group just adapts. It's tough, it's super efficient, and you can scale it up like crazy. All right, section 1, the problem with a single brain. Let's really dig into why this one boss idea just completely falls apart when things get big and complicated. The scientist who figured this out gave the problem this really technical-sounding name, but it's so important, a geometric capacity bottleneck. Seriously, this is the heart of the whole issue. You're trying to map out something really complex and branching, like a huge family tree or a company's org chart. You've got all these connections, but the system you're using to map it is, well, it's flat. It's limited.
Yeah, it's exactly like they say here. A flat grid just runs out of room. It's like trying to draw a massive, sprawling tree on a single sheet of paper. What happens? Eventually, you have to start squishing the branches together, right? You're forcing connections on the paper that don't exist in the real tree. You completely lose the true structure. Well, in the world of AI, that squashing is what they call catastrophic information loss. The system literally can't see the real picture anymore.
Okay, so if that old top-down approach is totally broken, where do we find a better idea? Well, turns out the answer is literally all around us. Let's dive into section 2, the solution inspired by nature.
I mean, just think about it for a second. A flock of birds doesn't have a CEO. A school of fish isn't waiting for orders from some central server. Have you ever seen those videos of starlings making those insane, beautiful, swirling shapes in the sky? There's no lead bird sending out memos about where to go next. No, each bird is just paying attention to its closest neighbors. It's following a few dead simple rules. Fly at the same speed, don't crash into each other, and stick together. And out of those super simple local rules, this complex, breathtakingly intelligent behavior just happens.
And this amazing phenomenon has a name, emergent order. This is like the secret sauce of the entire natural world. It's how a colony of ants, with their tiny brains, can build these incredibly complex nests. It's even how our brains work, thoughts emerging from the simple firing of individual neurons. The key takeaway is that the intelligence isn't in one spot. It's a property of the entire system, bubbling up from the bottom. So that brings us to the big breakthrough, the technology that finally figured out how to copy this natural genius inside a computer. Section 3, the breakthrough, hyperbolic neural cellular automata. Yeah, it's a mouthful, so we're just going to call it H-NCA. The easiest way to get your head around H-NCA is to think of it as a combination of 3 incredible superpowers. First, you've got this wild new kind of geometry. Second, every single little agent gets its own mini brain. And third, and maybe most important, it fully embraces that rule from nature. Absolutely no central boss.
All right, let's do it. Section 4, inside the hyperbolic mind. We're going to unpack each of these superpowers and see how they create this amazing artificial hive mind. Okay, superpower number 1, hyperbolic geometry. And folks, this is the absolute game changer. This is what solves that whole geometric capacity bottleneck we talked about. Instead of a flat grid like a piece of graph paper, H-NCA runs in a curved space. And the magic trick of the space is that it grows exponentially. The further you go from the center, the more room there is, and it grows at this explosive rate. Remember that tree we couldn't fit on the paper? Well, in hyperbolic space, it has basically infinite room to spread its branches.
Superpower number 2 is the neural cells. This is all about decentralization. Every single agent, every cell in this system has its own little mini brain. And here's the thing. It has no idea what's going on across the swarm. And it doesn't need to. All it does is look at its immediate neighbors, see what they're up to, and then decides what it should do next. Everything is totally local.
So you're probably asking, okay, if everyone's only thinking locally, how does the whole group coordinate? Great question. And the answer is superpower number 3, emergent synchronization. The agents are basically designed to, well, sync up. Think of them like a room full of grandfather clocks. At first, their pendulums are all swinging at different times, but over time, through tiny vibrations, they all start swinging in perfect time. That's what these agents do. By trying to match the rhythm of their neighbors, a wave of timing agreement just spreads across the whole system. You get perfect harmony without anyone conducting the orchestra.
And this is where it gets kind of mind-bending. Because of this shared hyperbolic space and this natural drive to sync up, an agent on one side of the swarm can perfectly coordinate its actions with an agent on the complete opposite side without ever talking to it directly. It's like they're connected by an invisible force. The system itself is the communication network. I mean, that is a completely different way of thinking about building intelligent systems. So, look, this isn't just some neat idea from a research paper. This changes, well, it could change everything. Section 5, why this changes everything. Let's get into the real-world implications.
So how does H-NCA really solve the swarm problem? Let's tick them off. 1. It is unbelievably robust. If some agents fail or get destroyed, the swarm doesn't even flinch. The others just heal and reorganize around the damage instantly. 2. It is super efficient. There's zero communication lag. All the reactions are local and instantaneous. And 3, the big one, it's massively scalable. Because that hyperbolic space just keeps growing, you can, in theory, build swarms of almost any size you can imagine.
You know, for so long, the whole game in AI felt like a race to just build a bigger, faster brain. But what this research proves is that for this whole class of huge, complex problems, that was the wrong race. The answer wasn't more horsepower. It was a smarter design. The solution to massive AI coordination isn't a bigger, faster brain. It's better geometry.
And that really leaves us with this huge, fascinating question. Okay, we've talked about drone swarms, but where else could this go? What else could we build with systems that actually learn to organize themselves? I'm talking about data networks that fix themselves, software that heals its own bugs, maybe even new materials that can literally design their own structures. What happens when we stop trying to be the boss and just create the right playground for intelligence to emerge on its own? It really makes you wonder, what new worlds are we about to build?